Have you ever really paid attention to music? When we listen to music, do you pay attention to the sound or do you pay attention to the silence as well? And is there a difference? What if there was no silence in the music? Would that be music or would that be noise? Can you see the difference? Or have you paid attention to the music and listened to both the sound and the silence? And if you could pay attention to the silence, wouldn't the notes in the music be automatically heightened, be automatically elevated? You see, these questions are sounding puzzling because we haven't really ever paid attention, have we? What is paying attention? Let me narrate you a story about two monks. Now, these two monks were taking a stroll in the forest, and the forest happened to be, they happened to embark upon a huge river in the forest. And there was a young girl out there. Now, monks are not supposed to have any contact with the opposite sex. That's the way that they've been told, that they've been taught, and it's treated as a way of distraction. So this young girl, looking very hassled, looking very puzzled, came to these people. She had bruises all over her body, and she said to this monk, "Listen, I've been trying to cross this river for a while now, and I've been battered and I've been bruised, but I haven't been able to make it to the other side. I'm really hassled. Can you please help me?" So this monk, young guy, kept quiet, carried the girl and helped her cross the river to the other side, came back and joined his friend, and they started their journey back into the forest. Now, about 2 hours into their journey, this other monk was looking very puzzled. He was looking very engrossed in his own internal dialogue, or whatever you may call it, and he turned to this monk and he said, "Why the hell did you do it? You know we are not supposed to do it." And he kept on and on his tirade for the next 15 minutes. And this monk who carried the girl, he kept quiet and he turned to the other boy and said, "Look man, I carried the girl back there and I dropped her on the river and it's over. You are still carrying her." You see, what do we really pay attention to? Do we pay attention to this voice within our head which is going on chattering and talking to us all day long? Or do we actually pay attention to the overall universe or to the overall surrounding as to what is happening? What do we really pay attention to? Let's find out. What is attention? How have we been taught attention as young kids in school, studying in the classes or studying in our houses or going about our business? What does attention mean? The moment a young child would be looking out of the window, "Hey, don't look there, come here, the class is going on here." This is what we mean attention. Attention, how we have come to understand it, is an activity of eliminating distractions so that we can focus like that monk, on what you've been taught, on what your principles are, what your values are, what your beliefs are. And our minds have been trained to believe that that is what is attention. Attention is a result of focus. So we spend our energies in eliminating the distractions so that we can get focused. Focused for what? Focused to achieve a result. Now, what is result? Result is an achievement. What is an achievement? Achievement is something that brings us success. What is success? Something that is good for us. Now, what do we mean by good? Something that is good for us is relative to what others are able to do. Focus, result, achievement, success, something that is good, something that is rewarding, something that is relative, is an existence which is very selfish because I am thinking about myself when I focus. Am I not? When you are focusing on something to achieve an end result, the focus internally is you, is your life, your happiness, your belonging, your success, your family, your well-being, your job. The focus is always you, and it's a very selfish existence. Now, we lead our lives in this focus to go about our results, our achievements, whether they're in the field of academics or whether in the field of business, making money, making happier lives, whatever it is, we spend our lives paying attention in this manner. And then there comes a crossroads in life when we realize this doesn't lead to happiness. And why doesn't it lead to happiness? It's fairly logical. We are paying, let's say you are paying complete focus and attention to making a great career, and you excel in your job and you produce the results. Now, let's say you get a result. You get 10 times your salary, or you get a bigger house, or you get a bigger car. Does that lead to any lasting happiness? If you double your salary tomorrow morning, does it mean double the happiness for the rest of your life? No, it does not. And the reason it doesn't is because this energy utilization of focusing on one thing by eliminating the distraction is actually contracting the mind. There is energy being spent in not thinking about other things as also in thinking about one particular thing. This is actually a contraction of the mind, and this form of living doesn't result into any lasting happiness because automatically doing certain actions and gaining a better result for your own self is not leading to the happiness of your own self. It's kind of contracted the mind. And the opposite of what we call paying attention is distraction. And by eliminating that distraction, what is distraction? Distraction is wavering of the mind. And wavering of the mind in its motive is not very different from paying focus. Why does the mind waver? Mind is wavering in search of all the things that we're trying to focus on. It's going in search of a better job, it's wavering in search of future things that I can accumulate, or what the future might be, or what the present might be, or this problem, how will I overcome? That's all distraction. And we try to live a life by eliminating the distraction, getting it onto a certain focus to achieve an end result which is in my self-interest, but that doesn't lead to any sort of happiness. So what is attention? Attention is not focus. Attention is certainly not wavering of the mind and going into distraction and all sorts of territories. So what is attention? Paying attention is to listen to the sound and the silence. Paying attention is to listen to the moment for what it is. Paying attention is to be in this moment and understand for what it is without this baggage of the past, this baggage of your focus. What you're trying to focus on is yourself. Paying attention is to pay attention for what it is and not for what it could be. It's to understand the sound and the silence without any judgment, without any motive, without any future event attached to it, without this element of time. And that paying attention or that awareness without any exclusion is the highest form of intelligence that's possible. And let me tell you why you're unable to understand it. Let's talk about space just for one moment. Are you aware of space? What is space? There is space between me and you right now when I'm talking to you. There is space between you and your device where you're watching this video. That is the space outside between you and the river, between you and the forest, between you and the mountains, between you and the road. That is space, right? Unless there is this space created, wherever you are in your surrounding, unless there is space, there is nothing new that can come in, right? Now, what is the mind? Is there any space in the mind right now? Are you able to connect with this little chatter that goes on in your mind all day long? These thoughts and these actions and these feelings and these emotions and the worries and the stress and the indulgences and the things that you have to do and how future will be. That's a constant chatter. When the mind is full with this chatter comes from our past baggage, goes on into the future, always worrying about the life we'll create. Until and unless this constant chatter stops and there is a space created, there is nothing new that can come in. There is no paying attention because the mind through this chatter is constantly focusing on the self. And as long as it is focusing on the self, it is paying attention to everything with the self-interest in mind, and it is not understanding the moment for what it is. And that is what paying attention is. Paying attention is to create the space so that the mind is free to listen to the sound and the silence without prejudice, without judging, without condemning, without any sort of a motive whatsoever, just to be aware without any inclusion, without any exclusion. And that's supreme intelligence, because the first time in your life you'll allow for something new to come in which is not based on past conditioning. Two monks carrying a girl, the way the other monk reacted is based on past conditioning, on what he's taught, what he believes to be right, what his end objective in becoming a monk, and so on and so forth. That's not the truth, because you forgot the moment. You weren't aware, you couldn't pay attention to the moment. Paying attention is to be able to listen to the sound and the silence, to be able to understand what is being said and what is being unsaid. If you're able to pay attention right now, you'll not only listen to what I am saying, you'll not only understand what I'm saying, but you'll also understand probably the prejudice that I have in saying this. Are you with me? When you're able to create the space and the silence, both the space and the silence, it's only then that the mind can pay attention for the first time. And that attention is of supreme intelligence, because you allow for something new to come in. This is very closely related to how we learn, and that will be something I will cover in my next video. But for the time being, please go, try and do this, try and experiment with this. Let me know how it went for you. Silence the mind and pay attention. See you again.